My daughter, she's out. She's desisted. She doesn't believe she's a boy anymore. But what happened was that I learned about all these thousands and thousands of families that I'm talking to. And many of them are my good friends now. We understand each other in a way that, most people don't understand what we've gone through. It's like we have gone to war together. That's what it feels like. This is like a war on our families. At the beginning of the school year in 5th grade, my daughter, when she was 10, her teacher emailed me and he was using a different name. And I actually thought that he had the wrong parent, but I went to her room and I saw that she had written this name on her dresser. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Do you have a new nickname? And she was like, yeah. I didn't really think that much of that at the time. Fast forward a few months into the year, I get a call from the school counselor, and she says that my daughter used the words with a friend, suicide and cutting. And she kind of sold to me the idea of using this special therapist that was contracted with the school. Because she was under 13, I had to come in and talk to this therapist and give her written permission. At 13, I might not have even known that she was seeing this therapist. So at 13 in our state, children can get their own mental health without a parent's consent or knowledge. In addition, they can also get medical health without their parent's consent or knowledge. And a parent will be billed by the insurance without an explanation of benefits. My daughter saw her for 2.5 months, a half-hour session every week. And during this whole entire time, I'm asking her, what's going on with my daughter? She would say things like, how are things going at home? And I was like, they're fine. So I just figured that nothing big had come up. So she calls me right before the pandemic hit, and she's using male pronouns for my daughter. And she's calling me to let me know that we're gonna have this meeting where she's gonna help our daughter come out to us as a boy. She's giving me 3 days to process that. The big thing that the therapist wanted to talk to us about and had to get permission from us for was that my daughter wanted to stay in the boys' cabin at the overnight camp. We were never gonna let her do that. I mean, I don't care who she thinks she is. There's so many reasons not to put a girl in a cabin with a bunch of boys and a male adult teacher. So many safeguarding fails. The school had to ask us because she was under 13. So again, at 13 in our state, they could have done that and we wouldn't have even known. They don't allow the parents to even know about it, let alone stop it. I have since talked to my daughter about this because we're a couple years away from it now. We've discussed a lot of things. I asked her, whose idea was it for you to go into the boys' cabin? She said, that wasn't my idea. That was the school's idea. She said, my teacher asked me. And I was like, you're kidding me. Her male teacher asked her if she wanted to be in the boys' cabin. And I remember actually after all this happened, she said, you know what, Mama, I actually don't even want to go to the 5th grade camp. And I was like, that's just fine with me. Now I realize she didn't want to go because the teacher asking her that put her in a very strange position. He put her in a corner. She had already identified and said she was a boy. So what is she supposed to say? She's like, oh, I guess I have to say yes, right? So she did. She felt like she had to say yes. She was 11 years old. You don't ask a child questions like that. We decided not to have the meeting with the therapist. We didn't think it was going to be a good idea for our family. That was going to set us up in an adversarial position with our daughter. And we just pulled back from everything. We took her out of school right when the pandemic hit because we didn't trust them anymore. I already knew I couldn't trust them with my daughter when she was in 5th grade, and going on to the middle school, she would be turning 13, and then I wouldn't even know. Like, they wouldn't have to tell me what was going on. She had a group of friends at school that were all LGBTQ identified, 10, 11-year-olds. And that was really, I think, also a lot of the source of her issues at the time. At one point, they got mad at her and she threatened suicide again. I kind of freaked out and I took all of her devices away. So she really never talked to that group of friends again. She was out of school and she was completely off of all of her devices for a long time. And her mood changed drastically. It wasn't making her happy identifying as transgender. I think that a lot of people think that using, the pronouns and affirming a child who says they're the opposite sex, that is about kindness, but it's very much a medical situation and it's about harm being caused to them and self-harm. I mean, children are cutting off their healthy breasts and testicles and doing things to their bodies that they can't undo. So of course parents are concerned when their children identify this way because it carries a heavy medical burden which they will have for the rest of their life. I don't trust professionals anymore. Not only was I betrayed by the school and by the therapist, but I have watched thousands and thousands of other families be betrayed in the same way. All this stuff is done behind parents' backs. Massive harm is being caused, and children are being experimented on and taken advantage of. People know that children are the easiest people to take advantage of, and I'm here to stop that from happening. That's why I keep fighting, to help families that are being destroyed by this.